So this started off as a what needs to leave the fridge show and ended up being a 5-part amazing buffet feast. Welcome to the show where we don't know what we're gonna cook until after we finished cooking it. This is the show where I am always hungry at the beginning and in kind of a bad mood and feel so much better at the end. I'm actually leaving town tomorrow afternoon, so I'm cognizant of making things tonight that are gonna be bad by the time I get back. And I'm expected to feed someone tonight, so I think it's just time to dive into the fridge and see what I got going on. Pepperoncinis and a white wine, spinach. We've got a chicken. This chicken I have to make for dinner tonight. Green beans, citrus, kielbasa, some cheeses, olive oil, potatoes, garlic in here. So I got out some things that I think are gonna go bad by the time I get back. This chicken, it should get eaten today, because if not now, when? First thing we do, heat up the oven. So I was recently given this. It is a roaster. So it goes like this, et voila. Now if I didn't have this, I would just do it breast up on a pan or something the exact same way. You know that old Julia Child episode where she talks about being the hen and the broiler hen and all that? The potatoes I have are gonna go bad in the next week, so I'm gonna use those too. I saw the green beans, and my last batch of green beans, I actually waited too long to eat them and they got gross. So I'm gonna cook these up tonight too. You could break off the ends like snap peas, but what I end up doing always is just lining them up as best I can and then cutting off a little bit. If I waste some, I waste some, that's the way it goes. Life's tough in the big city. Is this called Frenching them? I don't know why that would be. Do the French do this? I don't know. How do I want to incorporate the potatoes? I'm just gonna cut them into pieces that I would like to eat, or pieces I would want to put on a fork. And what I'll do is throw them on the bottom of this thing so that all the chicken juices drip down. 3 garlic cloves. That sounds delicious, right? I'm gonna also salt that. Ah, the kielbasa. Yes, we were gonna definitely use this. Let's see if it smells okay still. Super good. I'm gonna try to make it the same size roughly as the potatoes. And it will also season up the potatoes in a fun way. Okay, to actually roast a chicken, what I like to do is salt it overnight, which you saw that I did, and then just cover it with a fat, as in a butter or olive oil. Melt a couple tablespoons of butter, stir in some olive oil, and any other seasonings I want, I could just add to this little mix. I'm good with the salt and the chickeny flavor of the chicken. Also, I know that dinner's expected soon. So you can use a brush, you can use a spoon, hell, you can use your hands and just rub the butter and oil all over it. This isn't the show for people who don't like to touch raw meat. Now, I've never used this thing before. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna do that and put the legs here and shove this out of the way. And then what I normally do when I roast it is I tuck the wings back like this. Oh, I'm sure there's not enough room in the oven for it. Okay. Make sure there's enough room in your oven. Et voila. Normally when I roast a chicken, it takes about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and it was still pretty cold when I put it in. So let's see how long it takes. I used to think maybe you love me, not sure it's true. Ooh, some wine. Sauvignon Blanc 2020. It's been in the fridge for a while. Don't it feel good? Okay, well that's in the oven for a little bit longer. Let's do a salad. I won't dress it yet, but let's do it. So just slice them up, and let's do 1 pepperoncini. I'm not sure Greg will like it that much, but I do. This is such a fine grater. It's that when it shreds, it just like, it looks like there's much more cheese than there is. So I'm just gonna pile it high. And I like lemon zest a lot because it's like lemony without being acidic. And I do want something that's kind of juicy and fresh vegetable-y. So I'm gonna do a tomato. 1 handful, 2 handfuls. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of olive oil, some spicy salt, and some black pepper. I think that's all it needs. Well, shit. It's definitely at temperature. Okay. It's been at about 1 hour and 10 minutes in total. It's a little pale on one side and browner on the other, and I don't really know why, but it looks super fun. Look at all of that fat that has rendered from the chicken and the sausage. Those potatoes are tasting so meaty. Look how golden brown even just the back of it is. This is incredibly hot, so I'm just gonna let it coast and cool down a bit while I make the green beans. So you can cook green beans however you want. I'm gonna boil them for like 5 minutes and then maybe toss them in like a little sauce if I wanna make a sauce. So let's just dump in all the green beans. I'm gonna leave these herbs on the stem for the most part because I'm just gonna fish them out later. Tablespoon of melted butter to get the whole thing started. Squeeze some lemon juice. Add some olive oil. These have cooked for maybe slightly less than 5 minutes, so 4 minutes. And I'm just gonna dump them right into the butter. That way they'll keep cooking, but also get a little bit infused with that flavor. If they get some color, that's great. I like things with color. It's still bubbling away, but I want the cheese to really like melt into it, so I'm gonna do that. Ooh, cheese is going everywhere. That's not gonna look good, but it's gonna taste amazing. So this looks terrible. Yeah, it looks pretty gross. So I'm just gonna cover it with more Parmesan cheese. See? That already looks 10 times better. To carve a chicken. Ooh, hello. First thing we do is take off the legs. We just cut through in between the thigh and the breast. You'll see on this side there's a line of fat that goes down. You just cut in between it and voila. There's your thigh and your drumstick. Take the whole breast piece off first. And then I cut along in between the wing and the breast. Not everything can be the best. Otherwise, best would be meaningless. Separate it out a little bit just to see where the bone is and cut it along the bone. Okay, so then the wings. Pull it back a bit so you can see where the joint is, cut through the joint. And there you go. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of chicken. When I have overcooked my chickens, which happens all the time, so if it happens to you, don't worry about it, I then just make a sauce. So sauces will save everything. These are basically covered in sauce already, in like all the drippings for everything. When I have homemade mayonnaise, I do homemade mayonnaise and the drippings. I don't have any homemade mayonnaise, but I do have another emulsion, which is sour cream. And I think the tang of it will be really nice with everything. Slowly pour in a little bit at a time. There's a little bit. And whisk it around. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Gotta get that sheer force, back and forth, back and forth. I am gonna put in the juices of the resting chicken. Please don't fall out of the pan. Thank you. There we go, done. Oh my God, that's so good. It's tangy, and it's creamy, and it's chickeny, and it's sausagey. So we have our chicken, we have our green beans, we have our salad. Looks and smells incredible. Smells like the old country. Smells like the old country. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed with myself. What I have done is basically just put it out as if I have a family of 4 and everybody could just take what they want. So I'm just gonna take what I want. I mean, this is like the heartiest winter meal. Amazing. Let's do some sausage and potatoes, even though I've been sneaking them all evening, so I know they're delicious. The sausage has not dried out, but even if it had, that sauce is perfect. Same with the potatoes. What did I put in that? That's delicious. My rule of thumb is if it has a bone in it, I eat it with my fingers. It's just chickeny. It's just what chicken should be. What does that is the salting overnight. So good. And it's so moist. You can see it glistening. And the green beans. I love the texture of that lacy Parmesan. Oh man, that's so good. And they're cooked perfectly. What do we call this? Tender crisp? Crisp tender? But also cheesy and super lemony. We didn't know what we were gonna start off with. That's what's so cool about this show. We had no idea what we were gonna be doing. We opened the fridge and it became a utilitarian thing, what needs to get eaten. And sometimes that makes the best stuff. We saw the kielbasa, we saw the potatoes, we saw the green beans. The fresh spinach is not gonna be good in another week. The chicken, I salted it yesterday, so I needed to eat it today. This is a giant meal though. It's definitely meant for like 4 to 6 people. Leave a comment, do all of that. If you have any questions about this, there's like 4 recipes that are gonna go along with this, so it's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna use that thing more. That thing that I used to cook the bird, I'm gonna use that thing more. Thank you so much for joining me on this culinary adventure. If you like this episode, watch all the other ones, click subscribe, click like. Can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait to hear what's in your fridge and what you plan on doing with it.